Welcome to Studio on 7 with me, Cappy, and today we're going to be looking at a tropical shoreline. And so you see here, I've done step 1 of the Moore method of painting already, where I've drawn in, or painted in, with a small brush, thin brush, painted in the scene. There I'm writing step 1 of the method, of this method of painting that I teach. I've mixed up there. We're using a basic palette, alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue or French ultramarine, yellow ochre, white, titanium white. I also have a cad yellow light, and I have burnt sienna or burnt umber as an additional color, and then cad red. So my main colors that I use, the three primaries: French ultramarine, alizarin crimson, yellow ochre, plus titanium white for further mixing. Please note, no black. We mix up a chromatic black using the three primary colors for this portrait, or not portrait, for this landscape. And hopefully you've got your things to come along and paint with us in this little 47-minute video. So what I'm mixing up is we're going to go into step 2 now, which is the blocking in part, and I'll be mixing up the base color for the blocking in. These would be the darker colors for the base tones that go in onto the painting. The reason why I am recording this now, after I painted, is that the technical turkeys got onto my system, and the chief technical turkey, aka Cappy, that's me, forgot to turn on the volume for the audio. So I recorded the entire video, having spoken through the vid, and painted the entire scene with zero audio. So I'm busy sorting out the audio as we speak, in order to bring this video to you. Alright, so what I'm doing is blocking in the reflections of the rock in the distance, and then just increasing the size of the shoreline, and using ultramarine blue, white, titanium white, and a touch of yellow ochre into the mix to grade back to come up with that bluish grey color, which I'm using to block in at the moment. Please note as well that I'm using the brush strokes, how I'm bringing the brush strokes down towards the water's edge, top right to bottom left. As you look at the picture, just busy adding some water to the palette due to the humidity over here in Taiwan. Very important to keep that paint as moist as possible, otherwise it just cakes up and get a solid lump of acrylic paint. You can use either water, or as I do at times, I use an acrylic retarder. It's a colorless liquid that is used for mainly for blending, and in this case I was using water And you have to be very careful about the amount of water that you use, as you can end up breaking up the pigment from the binder in the paint. So don't overdo it with the water. When you're doing your initial drawing, you can make it very watery. So yeah, just be careful on that point. So what I'm blocking in first is I'm blocking in the landmass. The brush that I'm using here now is my medium brush. I tend to use smaller brushes on these size canvases. This is an A4 canvas from Canvas Pad. They are supposedly triple primed, and it's great for storage purposes, because if you're working on stretched canvas, you're going to end up with huge picture frames that you need to store. Now, space is very limited, and our apartment is big but not that big, so I switched over to Canvas Pad, which I now use for these demonstration paintings. Although these are demonstration paintings, I'm open to selling them as well, but I usually give these away as gifts or for birthdays or something like that. Mainly family that get it. First come, first serve. They see it, they want it, they get it. Anyway, these are the type of things that I'll be teaching in workshops, and we'll take you through the full. In a workshop, you will complete a full painting on a canvas larger than this, about A3 size, and it will be done in acrylics, because acrylic dries a lot faster than oil paint. Just with regards to the process, we have the 3 steps, and these 3 steps can be applied to most media, in particular oil, gouache, and acrylics that I'm using in this video. So step 1 is the drawing phase. Step 2, which I'm busy with at the moment, is the blocking in phase, and this is where we establish the values, the value scale. So in the front would be a lot warmer, and moving to the back where the rocks are in the distance and the smaller or setback tree, a second tree, things would be a lot lighter in that area. Again, notice how I'm taking the strokes from top right and moving them down towards the waterline. This gives you the ability to indicate that the land is dropping down towards the water. I've just added a bit of burnt umber, yellow ochre, and a touch of alizarin crimson to this color for the foreground to warm it up, so that we've got a warm tone in the foreground. Please feel free to leave a message or ask a question in the comments down below, or you can contact us at the studio via our Facebook page, on Instagram as well, and obviously on YouTube. If you like our videos, please subscribe. Don't forget to click the bell so that you can get updated with new videos, news, etc. The reason for the value scale and also the warm to cooler colors is so that you can work on the aerial perspective. Aerial perspective gives you depth in your painting, taking a two-dimensional painting picture and making it into as close as possible to 3D. Again, working on the shoreline, this time taking the brush marks up, bottom left to top right. I'd also like to say cheers to a Facebook art friend of mine. Thanks for the tutorial on the tropical palm trees. Awesome tut that you did there, Karim. We got some stunning artwork from your side of the world. Karim is down in, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, he's down in Florida, and he paints absolutely stunning Florida land and waterscapes. Got some really great stuff. Check him out on, I'll put the link to his channel down below this video when it's done, and you can go and check him out as well. Some really fantastic work that he does in oils and in acrylics. So thanks a lot for your tutorial, and yeah, certainly helped me in sorting out some of my trees for my landscapes. Right, putting in water now. This is the ocean. Not going over the reflection for the rocks, just sticking closely and making sure that water's edge doesn't go over that dark for the reflection. And then as I come closer to the shoreline, that water is going to get lighter and lighter. The reason being is water is reflected off the bottom of the ocean, and as you get closer and closer to the shoreline, the sunlight obviously comes off the ocean floor. That is why you get some stunning ocean photographs from around the world. Those beautiful oceans at the beautiful blue and note the bottom of the ocean as well. Really, really beautiful. When working with the water, make sure that the uh, angle of attack, as such, in other words, the brush strokes, change accordingly. Essentially, they should run parallel with the shoreline on both edges, at the far edge and here in the front. What I will do is I'll work in some waves, smaller waves, using white into the water. That's what I'm doing at the moment. Also lightening it up as well. Right, so adding in the foam on the waves. That's the breaking waves coming in, rather small. And again, yeah, you need to follow the water's edge in order to get those waves coming in and looking authentic. So I'll put in some highlights on the rocks at the back where the sun reflects onto it, and then I'll also mirror those in the reflection in the ocean. You have to laugh at yourself when you're doing these video editing sessions, and then you suddenly realize when you've been painting for, in this particular one, about 50 minutes, you suddenly realize that you forgot to turn on the volume once the whole video has been recorded. So here I am editing on my mobile in my app and adding soundtrack to it as it plays. So adding in the brown of rocks, note that you still see the dark color. I don't cover everything up because you do get areas that don't get light. So you just touch up a few areas. Don't take all the dark away from this. Same with any area that's dark. Same in the trees as well. I've put in the highlights onto the trees. I will still come back to that. We've got 3 tones of values in that tree at the moment. We've got the two greens in there, and then the dark, which was the alizarin crimson and the ultramarine blue that were mixed in there. Okay, just adding a touch of highlight to those rocks. And into the reflection as well. And the good old water spray, keeping my palette moist. And now mixing up the color for this rocky outcrop. If you're wondering where one gets inspiration from, well, you just have to look out your window, look in books, watch videos, take lots of photos, travel around. Most of my work when doing Asian fusion, there's the Chinese water ink work that I do. That's all in my head, made up as we go. In the Asian fusion, there's no room for mistakes. Your mistake becomes part of your picture. Either that or the picture becomes part of the garbage. So, yeah, what I'm doing now is I'm extending that shoreline, adding in some sandy color to the already muted green that I've got for the top area of the embankment between the trees. And you note again working top left, top right down in order to make the stroke go towards the waterline. Note too that I have left some darker areas in the embankment as well. Using the good old finger brush to blend paint into the surface. Sometimes the finger brush is a very important tool. Just waiting to see if a coconut crab is going to walk up there. One of the largest crabs that we have on Earth. The coconut crab. Quite a mean set of pincers on it. So we're working on the palm tree trunk. And notice I did make near the top of the, just before it goes into the actual fronds of the palm tree, I made a slight boo-boo. And we fix it up when we put the sky in. Able to cut out a bit of the tree, fix up any errors that may have occurred when painting on the tree. These are some of my favorite pieces to paint. Landscapes and seascapes. Really enjoy doing that. This year I've been working on portraits and sketching of portraits. Still busy working on that. Busy putting in the water's edge, the foam coming up onto the shoreline. And that would be just titanium white and very light strokes coming in onto the shoreline. And onto the waves. And these are just gentle waves coming into the shore. Running in a bit of a break onto the rocks and over the reflection. So a gentle wave going into the corner. Just making that back section of water slightly darker and bringing it into the lighter water in the front, and then putting in the shadow under the trough of the wave on the face. And if you're painting along, which I certainly hope you are doing, you can always stop the video and start again. Please post in the comments below if you're able to. You can post it in the comments on my Facebook page under this particular photo. Welcome to do that, and tell me how you got on. Right, so now blue, ultramarine blue, white, titanium white, and onto the sky. Now, this is what I like to do when I'm painting a sky, is I like to blend on the canvas. So I've got white, the ultramarine blue, and I will add white, more and more white as we come to the horizon line. And by blending the white in, I'm also able to create clouds at the very same time. I will take a photograph of the final piece as well and just add it to the end of this video, as my video camera is at an angle and it looks as if the rock is going up, which it is actually not doing. It's pretty much on a level horizon line there. This is the point where you can correct any hard lines at all, any mistakes on the painting itself, by putting in the skyline last. You will notice that the white getting blended into the blue actually starts to form cloud shapes. I've seen so many different ways of doing clouds, and this for me just works the easiest. I can just put in a plain blue sky. Also remember, when you're painting, to vary your shapes and lines in the sky as well, as that can actually indicate whether there's a wind or whether the day is a very still day. Once I've painted this in, or blocked it in, I will then come back and do some highlights on the clouds, if necessary. And you'll see that I'm busy shaping up the palm trees as well. popping some sky in and around the tree. And if you're wondering about the rocky outcrop underneath the palm tree in the foreground, I do come back and sort that out, so don't worry about that. There's still some dark and grasses that need to be fixed up. I think in the next seascape I'll have to do a sunset and add yellows, reds, oranges. Particular clouds that you see here are what we get on a daily basis at the moment. Get those lovely South African high-felt thunderstorms in the afternoon here. And so you will see rather large clouds being painted in, although in the distance. Just fixing up the sand in that corner where it meets the rocks. Definitely a good place for a deck chair and a little bit of a picnic basket out there, some cold beverages. maybe even cast a line into the water. The palette that you see, what I'm using in this, is a Korean brand called Magello, and this particular one you can actually clean up, and I would recommend a plastic palette knife to scrape off the paint. Just add some water and then you can scrape it off. Very nice little sealed palette in which I keep my paint. So coming back to the foreground to improve the warmth in the front section, I will go over to green for the grasses and then add that green to the, well, between the palm trees as well. A little bit of grass running down between the palms. Just a word of advice when mixing up the colors: start with your dark and then move towards your light by adding white into it. Move toward, you're going to basically have 3 tones: dark tone, mid tone, and a highlight tone. You can add a 4th one in. Usually just I do my base, then I can add 3 on top of that of the specific color that I'm going to mix up, in this case green. So you will notice that I still leave dark places on the tree. That's where the shadow is. You can see my shadow mixing away furiously on a green tone. This is now the highlight tone that I'm putting in. Now flicking in some grasses. And giving some shape using grass to also run down to the water's edge at an angle, giving shape to the landmass. Coming towards the end of the video now. Thanks for watching. Hope you're going to give this a try, whichever medium you're using. And like I said, post your pics. I'd love to see them, or you can message me with them. So, coming towards the end of this little painting. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you drop in again. See what's on the channel. Make sure you subscribe. Click on the bell to receive your updates and notifications. Have a great week from me here at Studio on 7. Thanks again for stopping by. Me, Cappy. Cheers for now. Ciao.